There. I updated this song. Yay! It's like, what do you mean? No wonder why I couldn't see nothing. There we are. Aimless Banter! We are here live on darkstarradio.com. As you know, this is the show where we talk about whatever we want for 2 hours. Sometimes it might extend if we get in deep in a topic like me and Muggsy did last week. Or if I have 10 guests on the show at the same time, that might extend the time a bit. But today it's Cher. And hello. Say hello to your audience. We're on darkstarradio.com and we'll be on the Aimless Banter podcast.
Hello, everyone, and I'm very glad to be here. Thank you for having me as a guest.
Yay! So excited! So you are going to school, and I'm going to school, and we're going into similar fields, except yours is TV, I'm guessing, oriented. I did the TV and radio broadcasting thing. That's why I have a radio station. Actually, I launched the radio before I got that thing. I was like, I'm going to go to the school, see if I can learn anything new. And I was like, well, I learned a lot about television and film, but all the radio stuff wasn't that new, except maybe I learned how to edit audio, which I didn't know you could do.
Yeah, you can't.
I was like, what? You can edit audio? Because I used to do voiceovers and things, and I would put them on SoundCloud, and then I would re-record myself 1,000,000 times. Didn't know I could edit it.
Wow. Yeah. So you did learn something.
Yes, I learned something. Just one little tidbit that saves my life. I don't have to repeat the whole monologue every time, or go back in time and go rewind. I was like, I didn't know you could do that. Well, I didn't have Adobe either. I was like, I couldn't figure out what program to do. I just recorded it and put it up there. Didn't know you could edit it in a program like Adobe Premiere. Well, Premiere is the video version. Adobe Audition,
yes. And I use Audacity a lot to do audio editing. It's not as intense as Adobe, but it's a pretty good program.
Well, Sarah says hello. She's my dog. She's like, that's me.
Well, hello, Sarah.
She's like, what are you doing, Mom? I was like, we're doing the Aimless Banter show, Sarah. Don't you remember? It's every Tuesday and Thursday, 4 to 6 p.m. PST, 6 to 8 p.m. CST, and 7 to 9 on the East Coast, and apparently 9 a.m. in Sydney, Australia.
Hey, all right.
I was like...
Yeah, they're 24 hours behind us, I believe, or something like that.
I think they're ahead of us.
Are they ahead of us? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right. They are ahead of us. Yep.
So instead of it being nighttime, it was daytime. I was like, that must be so weird, because if you have friends in America and you're trying to talk to them, it's morning for you and night for them.
I know. It's so weird.
And it's like, wonder what time it is in Korea.
Probably not too different from Australia.
Probably. I don't know. But I do know, when I was in Iraq, we were on Zulu time, so I have no idea what time it was in Iraq.
Oh.
So, I have, I knew Zulu time was different, but it was also different from where we were, so I had no idea what the actual time was.
The actual time you actually were.
I was like, whatever, we're using Zulu time. You're just going to have to deal with it. I was like, it's a 24-hour clock. It doesn't matter if it's daytime and it's nighttime. I don't care.
It's just time, exactly.
But now it's I can't drive at night. And I was like, I used to drive in stuff you wouldn't imagine, the sand in your face the whole time. Oh. And it's you're driving through stuff and you can barely see. And I was like, I don't know how we accomplish this.
Well, I had several friends that served in Iraq, and I heard some horror stories about camel spiders. Did you ever run into those guys?
Oh, yes.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, some target practice.
One of my sergeants was being followed by one because, he was walking and it was in his shadow. So, he just kept walking and then he turned. I don't know why he turned around, but he saw it and he started running and it leapt all the way over him and he ended up dirt to face. He freaked out. I was like, this is a man I didn't know was scared of spiders. And I was like, the spider just wants shade. It's not gonna do anything. Oh, okay. I'm gonna pretend like this didn't happen.
They're terrifying, though. I mean,
they're really big, and they jump. Yeah. Do they jump? I was like, but like, I think the scorpions were scarier. Cause
oh yeah, I don't like those either.
They weren't big or anything, but they could kill you. So.
They could. It's usually the little ones that are deadly.
They're like I was checking my shoes for scorpions and snakes and whatever else would crawl in them before I put them on. I was like,
Seriously. Well, and I'll tell you, according to my handy dandy little device here, Iraq is 7 hours ahead of Washington, D.C. So, according to this, it is now 2:06 a.m.
Wow. So that explains that. Everybody is sleeping. I think most of my audience is probably Germany. They're like, and I was like, do you listen to me because my show is in English and you want to learn? Or is it because you just like the industrial music that goes on between 12 a.m. and 12 p.m.?
Well, I was actually in Germany a few years ago. Loved it. It's a great place.
I only been to the airport.
Oh.
And that's because, that was I went from Georgia to Atlanta to Germany, Frankfurt, Germany to Kuwait to Iraq. So
gosh, that's a long trip.
Oh my gosh, that was a long trip, and that was my first time doing that overseas flight thing. And like by the time, like I would like they'd give us food or whatever, and I was so thirsty the whole time, and I was like, "Can you give me some water?" And I passed out before she even brought it back to me.
Yeah. Well, how long did that take you to do all that?
I think the longest trip was like when we had to do our layover, and I think that was at least 12 hours. And it's a 747 that we're on, and it's like 3 stories packed like sardines.
Yeah, I'll bet.
It's like 3 stories packed like sardines. I was like, do the officers at least get to do first class, or are we all packed like this?
I think the longest flight I ever had was when I went on a business trip to South Africa, and that was like a 17-hour flight, if I remember. It was a long flight.
Was that like I'm sleeping the whole time type trip?
Yeah, actually, I watched most of the Harry Potter films.
Nice.
One right after the other, so that worked out pretty well.
Oh yeah, I would totally do that. Oh yeah. So like when I was in when the first movie came out, I memorized the movie to the point when I was working at I think it was Lone Star Steakhouse and Saloon. When I was doing silverware, I would watch it in my head. Oh. I was doing a mundane task that didn't require thinking. So what do? I watch the movie as I'm doing everything else.
That's totally what I would do. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan.
Oh, yay! I read the first book and I was like, nah, I don't like this. And then I saw the first movie and I was like, okay, I'm reading the other books. Snape is my favorite character.
Oh, yeah, he's pretty popular.
And
what's your favorite book?
Half-Blood Prince.
Oh, that's a good one. I think mine's Goblet of Fire.
I like that one as well, but Half-Blood Prince had more scenes in it with Snape, so I was like, yes!
Okay, I'll grant you that, yeah.
So I was saddened by the movie that there wasn't as many scenes of Snape. I was like, you cut Snape out! Why are you doing this to me? I like my Alan Rickman. I was so happy when he became Snape.
He was great in that part. He really was. I was so sorry when he passed.
Yeah, and then David Bowie passed. They were so close together. I can't remember if David Bowie went first or Alan Rickman went first, but they both had liver cancer and they were both 69.
Oh, yeah, I'm a huge David Bowie fan, too, and that one really hit me, because I was like, oh, no.
That definitely hit me. I'm totally a David Bowie fan, like, since birth, I guess, because, the Labyrinth came out the year I was born.
That was my favorite movie ever.
I know, and I liked Mr. Rice's Secret, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, and what was, he was in that Invisibles movie, Arthur and the Invisibles, the first one. He was the evil dude. He's like, I don't want to play an evil dude anymore.
He played such a great evil dude, though.
I know. I was like, but Jareth isn't evil.
No, and he was definitely a better babysitter than Sarah. That's for sure.
For dang sure. She was selfish. Yes. And she's like, but it's my toys. I was like, how old are you?
Actually, grow up.
It's like, I know I didn't like sharing at first when I didn't, because I was, an only child. I wasn't used to that, but like after a few months I was like, okay, let's do this thing. But when you're an only child, you're not used to sharing.
True. That is true.
And that's probably how she felt, and that's maybe because he's a baby, maybe he was only a couple months old, but I was like, that's a teddy bear that he stole, and you're acting like he stole your whole universe.
Your whole childhood.
Mm-hmm. I was like, if it was my teddy bear and it was a baby who wanted it, I'd probably give it to the baby.
I probably would too. Well, and she did, in the end.
In the end, yes. After she learned what it is like to have friends, I guess. I was like, she's how old and she doesn't have a friend in the world to play with?
I know, right? Well, and in the book, I don't know if you ever read the book. It tells about how being her stepmom, she didn't like her stepmom, and he was only her half brother. So trying to deal with all that. But it was an awesome movie, and it was actually based in part on a Maurice Sendak book called Outside Over There. I came to find out. Yeah,
nice. I read the manga by Tokyo Pop, The Return to the Labyrinth, and I was like, there needs to be more.
Yes,
because I was like, they should make a movie, and then he died, and I was like, no, don't make a movie, not without David Bowie.
I know. I can't think of anybody they could get who could do a better Jareth than David Bowie.
Maybe David Brighton if they get him, because he's the impersonator, and I really like him.
Okay, I could see that.
Because he does, he's the Space Oddity. David Brighton. I saw him a few years ago, and I got a picture with him. It was awesome, and I was like, this was before David Bowie died, and then when David Bowie died, I was like, I never got to saw David Bowie in concert. So sad.
Oh, yeah. I actually got to see him several times in concert, luckily. He came through school when I was in UNC Chapel Hill, and we went to the shows. But yeah, I know. It was really sad, all the feels.
However, I do have a really nice... Well, my aunt has a really nice picture of him when he was younger, because she went to his concert.
Really?
Yes, I was like, see, I'm not the only one in my family that likes David Bowie. My mom is a huge Beatles, Beach Boys.
Oh, so,
yeah. The first band I discovered outside of what she likes was David Bowie. And then I really liked him because he not only does he broke some boundaries that nobody else would do, he would collaborate with people. He's the first musician to collaborate with people. So when you see the collaboration now, that's because of him. And Michael Jackson is the first one to make the music video have a story. Well, David Bowie is the first one to collaborate with other people.
That's true. That is very true.
And I was like, I love music videos because they have cool stories. I don't really watch them anymore, except I did watch this really cool one. It was from a few years ago. It's in a band from Israel, and it's a metal band, and the animation was done by Zaz Animation, and I was like, I really like this animation, and it's like this devil stop motion puppet, and he's shooting up he puts a coin in a machine, and he's shooting up teddy bears as they run away and they try to escape.
What?
Yes. It's and you see stuffing coming out of them.
That would be terrifying. Pretty cool, actually.
And they're like, I think they had to combine like other effects besides just the stop motion to make what they did. But I was like, this is so cool. I wish I could do that in this semester. Guess what I'm doing? Stop motion animation.
Stop motion. So are you doing like claymation stuff, or how are
I
you doing
will be.
stuff?
Yes, I have clay. I got Claytune. And I got 2 sets. I've got the black, the brown, the gray, the white. That's the first set I got. And then I got the color set with some bright colors. I'm thinking about making an alien puppet, so that might work for my animation. My first animation, though, is going to be found objects. I'm trying to figure out what to use for my found objects.
So do you have a script you have to follow, or do you have to write that as well?
I have to do everything. But from the examples, there were some really long ones, and then there was some really short ones, so it doesn't really have to have a story, but I was like, but when I do the stop motion with the puppet one, I definitely want a story. So I was thinking about, because I'm typically, my boyfriend calls me Nebula because my avatar in the game we played together is blue.
Oh, yeah, okay, perfect.
So I was like, I should do a blue alien puppet.
So is this your avatar here on the Skype picture? Yes, very cool. Okay, I can see that. What game is it?
Second Life.
Okay.
It's a game where you can create things and bring it to the world and make it your own, pretty much.
I know that. I'm not as big a video gamer as I used to be. I used to be really big into Civilization. I played that thing all the time, and then it really just whipped my butt one day, and I was like, I think I'm done.
Yeah, I used to be into video games as well, and then like I started school, and it's just been sitting on the back burner. I was like, I'll play it later. It's like, I feel like I'm a game collector now. I buy them and I don't play them. What is wrong with me? Yes. And it's like, well, I'll play it eventually.
I do the same thing with movies. I'll buy a movie I want to see, and it sits there, or sits in my queue, or it sits in the file, and I will never see it. I'm like you. It's just a collection. It's a collection.
I've got a huge collection, and I got like a collection on Steam because, you know, computer gaming, and then I've got a collection on PlayStation 4 because I have one of those. And mostly all I do is homework and work and reading. I read a lot. It's like, I guess I went back to reading all the time.
Nothing wrong with that. Reading's good. I like to read too. What do you read?
I've been reading this vampire series. Let's see, what is it called? An author sent me, and he was supposed to do an interview with me, but that never happened, and I can't figure out how to contact him again. It's by Douglas Robinson. It's called the Silent Series novel. It's published by Without Love, Nothing Changes. So it's like, it's a Christian publishing company that published a vampire book. Yeah, so it's like, really? I was like, this is different. But yeah,
that's
so it's
intriguing.
I know. I was like, see, first they were blasphemizing Harry Potter, and now look at a Christian publishing company published a vampire novel.
Doing vampire books. So have you read it?
I've read some of it, and I read some of it on the radio. Cause I was like, I'll read an excerpt from this. I read the first chapter on the radio, and I read the first chapter of another book that I was given from another author on the radio before. And it was like, it's story time! But this one is about a female vampire person of an indeterminate age. You don't know how old they usually are. I know. I was like, really? Okay. And it comes to Trenton seeking a new life. Appearing as a young woman, she chooses a college to live and a friendly young athlete to help her meet and select the people on whom she depends on for blood.
Oh my goodness. Well, it does sound like a typical vampire story.
Yeah, so it's like, I was like, this is different. But yes, and he's got quite a few of them, I think. I've got 2 of them from him, and I was just, are you ever gonna come on the show? You know, he didn't have a Skype, so it's like, I guess he's got to wait until I can figure out how to hook a Jimmy rig a phone on this thing.
Well, see, you might learn that in your next audio class.
I know. I was like, come on, give me some audio classes. Give me some audio classes. I don't know, but I do have this machine thing that I can hook multiple computers to, so I can use the sound from my other computers if I wanted to. It's called a Yamaha MG10XU, and I use this for singing too. So like, I would put music from one computer, and I'd use my microphone that I'm using now, and then I would sing.
So you plug your computers into each other? Because this is something useful for me as well.
Well, I plug the computer into the sound thing, which the sound thing is in one of the computers, which is recording. But it just, and then I like have different wires from one computer sound thing into the sound thing. So it's like they're all hooked to the sound thing. They're not hooked to each other.
Okay. I gotcha. I might have to look into that as well.
That's what I use. It's very... I was like, I could probably hook like 3 computers if I wanted to. Maybe more if I can figure out what chords I need. I just have one set of chords, so generally I just have the one computer that plays the background stuff if I want to, and then the one computer that records and stuff, and I can adjust my volume, so like my mic is higher or lower because my microphone is hooked to this. This is the best thing ever. I don't have to, because I have a condenser microphone, so it's plugged into this, and it has 45 phantom power for the mic to work, so I don't have to plug it into something else to make it work. I was like, yes.
What's this system called again?
It's called a Yamaha MG10XU. They have a lot of different ones. You know, there's like more elaborate ones and stuff. So it's like there's bigger and better ones. But I just got a simple, like, this is probably more than simple. but I can hook up an instrument to it. I can hook up, one computer to it. I could probably... 2 computers to it if I wanted, but it can also hook up instruments and things as well. So if I want to play like my piano, I can hook it up to that as well.
Nice. I need to look into that.
And if I wanted the sound to go out somewhere, like to speakers, I could do that as well. So, not that I would do it, but I could do it if I had speakers. I was like, well, eventually when I DJ in clubs,
there you go.
I have this machinery, and they're like, what is she doing? But yeah, I also hook up my DJ controller to this as well. So it's like, yes, I play music and I DJ and I do all this. And then, of course, I go to school.
And on top of everything else.
Yeah, and I go to work and I go to school and I have a radio. They're like, how is she managing all this? I was like, I don't know.
Yes, no, I do something similar. I have several jobs that I do, and then I'm writing as well, and then I'm working on my YouTube show, so I feel you on all of that.
What kind of show are you working on?
I am working on a show. It's called Cause Spotted, and what I do is we go around to thrift stores, yard sales, reseller websites, and find things that you can use to make costumes, to make crafts. I have this amazing thrift store foo at finding the perfect costuming item, like the perfect match for, say, your Harry Potter shirt, or for a Doctor Who shirt, and usually I can find the exact thing or something that will work with a little modification and turn it into a costume piece.
Oh my god, you would have totally loved me when I was a teenager. Because when I was a teenager, I'd make costumes from whatever is in my closet.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. One of my instructors told me I never saw someone destined to make something out of nothing.
Exactly. So like, how we both like David Bowie and we both like the Labyrinth movie. I made a female Labyrinth costume out of whatever was in my closet. So I had the tall boots, I had some tight pants, and then I used the bodice of a prom dress as my top, and then I had, the bell sleeve or a poet top, whatever it was, I forgot, probably bell sleeve poet top. And then I had that, and then I had a crop, and then I found a crystal ball, and I was walking around, and the principal stole my crop.
Oh no! Oh.
was like, I'm not going to hit anybody. I don't care. It's a weapon. I was like, whatever.
Closet's cosplay. That's some of the best stuff.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know how to sew or anything, but I knew how to put something together.
Well, we'll be doing an episode on that as well, telling you how to find some things out of your closet. So
that's what I used to do, and it's like, I don't have anything in my closet that I could do that with anymore. But it was so nice when I did. It was like, this is awesome. I bought a prom dress to go to my mom's wedding, so so that worked out. And I was like, see, look, Mom, I didn't just wear it once.
You can do a lot with old prom dresses.
Mm-hmm. I really because it was like the bodice was separate from the skirt. And that was the best part about this dress. So it was like, I can wear this by myself.
Yeah, I love old prom dresses. I mean, if the dress doesn't work, you can always use the fabric for something.
Mm-hmm.
They come in handy. I just took an old dress from the 80s and turned it into a recreation of Princess Diana's wedding dress.
I saw that. I was looking at your Facebook. I was like, what? I was like, she's alive.
Well, and I wanted it to be kind of a tribute, and was really pleased at how many people got my intent. So I got some great photos with a guy who's dressed as Prince and a guy dressed as Elton John. So we had a blast.
So I saw you were in 501st.
Yes.
Is that a Star Wars?
It is. The 501st Legion is the world's largest Star Wars costuming club. We started in 1997. I joined in 98. We've got I think we're up to about 12,000 members now, all over the world. And we're like the Stormtroopers, Darth Vader, Boba Fett. We play all the bad guys, but we like to do good things. We do children's hospital visits. We do, we'll do museum events and community events. And here in the Carolinas, where I am, we work really closely with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So as we like to say, we're bad guys doing good.
I like that. I was like, I recognize that. I was like, she's in a Star Wars too. I was like, I think we're gonna fall in love with each other. We're gonna be best friends by the end of the show. She likes Harry Potter. She likes Star Wars. What else do we like? David Bowie.
Yes.
And we like doing good things. Yes. And you said you're writing a book too, right?
Actually, just finished 2 books. I've got my first nonfiction book. I'm really excited. It's coming out in September. It's called Twas Halloween Evening, A Tale of the Zombie Apocalypse. And it's basically a spoof of A Night Before Christmas.
Oh, that's cool. So that must be fun.
It's going to be like a big coffee table picture book. It's a total parody. It started out as a drabble and then kind of a 100-word thing and then kind of took on a life of its own. So that'll be out in September, just in time for the Halloween rush.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes.
Zombies are still popular, so maybe more so than vampires these days, but so that one will be out, and then I've got a puppet book coming out in December.
And what does it mean, a puppet book?
Well, I am also a puppet builder. In fact, Labyrinth was what inspired me to want to go and work for the Muppets. So I worked with the Muppets on Dinosaurs and Muppet Christmas Carol and spent a few years on Sesame Street Live. And I've written 2 books about puppets, one about dressing puppets, then this next one is called Introduction to Puppetry Arts. So,
okay, that book I'm definitely reading, okay? Because I totally love Jim Henson.
I talk about some of the Muppet stuff in there, yes, so you might see some familiar faces, but so those are my 2 books coming out this year.
That must be fun. I write books, but I will probably not be published until I'm at old age.
It's funny, self-publishing has really grown. There's not nearly the stigma to it that there used to be. And a lot of people who self-publish actually go on and have pretty successful careers at it. So, if you wanted to go that route, you'd probably do pretty well.
Yeah, I'm working on a series, but I've been working on it since I was 15, and they kind of interlace. If I change something, you have to make sure all the changes are in every book.
Oh, yeah. Well, look at J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter. She probably had to do that, too.
Yeah. She changed Hermione Jane Granger's name to Jean because she wanted Umbridge to have Jane. I was like, why didn't you just change Umbridge's middle name to Jean? Everybody's like, what do you mean? Her name wasn't Jean. I was like, don't you remember? She is Hermione Jane Granger for the longest time, and now it's Jean because she wanted Umbridge to have Jane. That's stupid. Umbridge came later. She should have Jean.
Yes.
But I guess she didn't, because her daughter's name is Jean, so yeah, I was like, if you read the first book I ever wrote, well, first novel I ever wrote, because you can definitely tell who I based some characters on. and one of them will positively deny that the character is her.
Well, and a lot of authors do that. We were talking self-publishing. 50 Shades of Grey started out as Twilight fan fiction. And, yeah, seriously.
Really?
Went on and self-published it, and it became huge and turned into a movie. And so, see, you never know.
I actually write Harry Potter fanfiction. And I've been writing since Harry Potter fanfiction since 2005. And I got the biggest following ever for one of my fictions, and it's called The Hidden Prince, and it's about Hermione Granger.
I'll have to look that up. I don't do a lot of fan fiction stuff, or I used to write it, and then when I started writing, my book stuff, I didn't have time for much else, so I will totally look that up.
So it was like, they're like, you better come back here and finish this, because blah blah blah. We want to know. It? No, it's still.
What?
Yes, I took a 2-year break because of school, and I was like, okay, I'm slowly coming back, people. I'm gonna try to post a chapter every 2 weeks. If it doesn't happen, it's every month. Well, you're just gonna have to deal, because you are actually dedicated enough to wait for me for 2 years, and now you're interested in still reading. So yeah.
Wow. I don't think I could get a chapter out every 2 months. I enjoy writing, but boy, am I slow at it. And I'm
very slow as well, and it's mainly because I don't know. Like when I was in Iraq, I could write like nothing. Like it was like boom, explosion of like 80 pages in one day, and then the next day I'm like, meh.
Yes, I am totally
and then boom, explosion of like 20 pages. I was like, I miss having those explosions of pages. Where that?
I do too. Oh yeah. Now that I finished these 2 books, I think I'm not going to write for just a little bit and recover from it, and then maybe we'll see what comes up next.
So you wrote non-fiction book, and it's a parody book, a fiction book?
It is. It really is just like A Night Before Christmas. It's a poem in that style. Mm-hmm. And except it's about zombies on Halloween. And I did the illustrations as well, and it's
cool.
I kind of wanted to make we were talking about the computer stuff. I made them look like old B zombie movie from the 50s photos.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it'll be a big coffee table book, supposed to come out sometime this month through Perspective Press.
Oh, Perspective Press.
Yes.
Never heard of that one. I have Author House hounding me every month. I was like, well, I'm sorry, I'm in school, so it's slower than normal. I'm actually trying to release my action series before I release my big epic Chronicles, because, the Chronicles have to interlace. My action series is a spy series where it's a choose your own adventure type book.
Nice.
And I got a prequel, the one I'm writing now, and then I have a sequel, and that's all there's gonna be. It's a trilogy.
Writing's hard work, as you know, and it's, when you go through with your publisher, you got to copy and re-edit and edit again and put in photos and change stuff around and get new and it's a lot of hard work. The
formatting part is what I'm having trouble with.
Yes.
A normal book would probably be easier. I should have went the normal route, but no, I had to choose this choose your own adventure thing. What was I thinking?
What's the fun in being normal? Come on.
I know. I always loved those types of books. That's why I wanted to write one, but I was like, I'll just make 3 decisions each time. I'll just make 3 different outcomes, right? So the ending though has 5 different endings.
I was about to say, when you write one of those books, it's like you're writing a gazillion different stories.
It's like writing a video game, except you read it with your eyes.
Yes, exactly.
And I was like, I want to know I want to know what program the video game people do to make that work. Like, just the story part. Because, the story comes first before all that other technical stuff. So you're like, how do they come up with all these storylines that interlace and all this? How does this work? It's so complicated. And I'm like trying to write just 3 different choices or 2 different choices. I can't remember which one it was. But it was like, here's one choice, here's the other choice, and then I'd go follow one trail, and then there's another choice and another choice, and it was like, okay, then I'll follow this trail. I finished one ending. I was like, this is the author's ending. So like when the next book starts, they'll realize which ending it is.
Wow, so you already have another one planned.
Yes, I do.
See, you're doing much better than I am. I sit down and write, I'm like, I don't know how J.K. Rowling does this.
I don't know either, but I'm thinking she does all of the character and background research and all that first. Like, I think she must have thought those characters thoroughly to the point that she would recognize it, you might not recognize it. All this information that you put into a character, the better, because then you have a fuller picture. The other people don't need to see that, but you do.
True. Yes, that is true. Yes, you as the author need to know that.
But I was she started writing on napkins when she started writing Harry Potter,
That's what I've heard. Mm-hmm. Yes, and that she was turned down 1,000,000 times by various publishers.
So it's like, look at her success, and she was a millionaire, and she, donated her millions to something else. So
True. And I do always look at her when I'm feeling like, my writing's not going anywhere. It's like, you know what? She was turned down multiple times, and look at her now.
Exactly. So. And then you have to think of a famous person who wrote Wizard of Oz, Frank L. Baum. He didn't get success until his late 40s, I believe, or was he 35? I don't remember, but it was like he was older. I think it had to be 45. I think, I can't remember. I did a whole basically when I was in design class, I forgot what kind of class it was. I think it was basically my final was making a picture of him and putting elements of all this stuff around him, and it was like Photoshop.
Oh, yes.
So I had his the hourglass, and then I had his family in there in the black and white photos, and then half of it was color, half of it was black and white.
That's cool. Wow.
Yeah, so it was basically the whole class I was just doing these lines and circles and things in little boxes, and then by the time I got to the final, it was like, oh, I'm doing what I know how to do. I was like, I don't understand this lines and circles and things like that, but somehow I got an A in that class. And
that's the important part.
But basically it was showing you how to think, how to put things together, and then when it came to putting pictures together to make one big picture, you had the balance and so you're doing all that stuff. So it was actually training your brain to do that with geometric shapes versus the actual whatever you use when you do artwork.
Trying to put things together. Mm-hmm. That makes sense, because then it puts your brain into that gear to take the direction you need to go.
And it makes you think differently about stuff.
Exactly.
And I was like, and now this semester I'm in a compositing class, and I was like, I'm so confused. Aren't we going to be learning After Effects? Why are we doing Photoshop? I'm so confused. And my class has the class has CS6, but they gave us CS6 is Photoshop.
Yes.
And we're using CC, the cloud. So I'm like, why does this have no tutorial for the newer stuff? Am I gonna I need directions how to program myself so I know what I'm doing. I was like, I know how to use Photoshop, but I don't know. So when I looked at CS6, because that's how the videos are, they're CS6, I was like, why is the video in CS6 when they gave us codes for the cloud?
Oh, and it changes every time you turn around. I took a Photoshop class myself last semester, and I'm sure things that I learned then are completely useless now. It changes.
It feels like that, right?
Yep.
And I took a Photoshop class in my last school, so I was like, I'm confused in why I'm doing this class. But it was like, whatever, I guess I have to take this class. And my teacher's like, I'm still waiting to see what they say to the logos I posted in my introduction. They're like, they're probably gonna be like, she designs logos? And she's like, she uses things in the Photoshop that they didn't know existed.
Well, there's something new in Photoshop every time I turn around. I mean, when I'm working in the program, I look in there is, what's this button do? Oh, what is that?
I know.
Like,
and then
new stuff.
What was exciting, what really made me super happy and exciting, was that they added the pen tool to Photoshop.
Yes.
I love the pen tool. I was always using, like, I would take my pictures and bring them into Illustrator, and I would trace what I did by hand, so it would be a cleaner line versus, my sketchy hand. And then I would take what I did there and bring it into Photoshop, and then I could color it. Now, though, the pen tool's in Photoshop, so I might not have to go all the way to Illustrator and then transfer it to... I was like, I'm in heaven. I don't have to go all the way to Illustrator, because, I used various programs to make this work, but they added the pen tool to Photoshop. I was like, yes, thank you. I was like, thank you. I've been waiting for this day to happen all my life.
Now, Illustrator is something I've been wanting to learn, and InDesign. I haven't learned either of those yet. And
InDesign is really good. It really, if you want to do magazines, layouts and stuff like that.
Yes.
And it's really good if you want to do your own layout on your book as well. It's just hard.
Great.
Hard. So it's like, I was like, because I couldn't figure it out. I swear, I learned how to do it, and then I haven't played with it since I took that one class, and I was like, how do I do this again?
I was the same way with Final Cut Pro. I passed my Final Cut Pro class and then went back a little while later to do some more editing. I'm like, I've completely forgotten everything.
That's how I feel with After Effects.
And I'm not familiar with that one either.
After Effects is it's like Photoshop, but it's for video.
Yes.
And you add special effects and stuff like that, and I can't figure that out for the life of me. I'm so confused. I was like, and then just because I'm in this compositing class, I was like, wait, you can bring movies into Photoshop?
Yes, I didn't
know that.
Yes.
I didn't know you could bring a video into Photoshop. I was like, what? I was like, they can bring a video into photo. What? I was like, I would rather do that than use After Effects.
And I haven't tried it yet.
Me neither.
I'm curious to.
Yeah, me too. Because I was in the compositing class. It shows you they broke down Game of Thrones. They showed you the video before they added the stuff, and then they showed what after. So it would show the progression of what they added, little piece by piece, and I was like, dang, it was bare before they added stuff.
It's amazing though what they can do with special effects, and even the little simple home computer stuff we can get now. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool. I mean, it really looks professional, but I've not tried video in Photoshop yet, and I want to see how that works exactly.
I think I might be learning that this semester.
Oh, well, then I might be touching base with you to find out what you're learning.
Because I'm doing compositing, visual effects, and I was like, why are we learning Photoshop? Didn't I already take this class? I was like, and then I was like, wait a minute. They did this in Photoshop? What? I'm so confused. I was like, I thought this was an After Effects thing. I thought this class was going to be about After Effects. I was so excited to learn about After Effects. And I was like, why is this class about Photoshop?
Well, and special effects are something I've wanted to do. I'm pretty okay with the non-linear editing, but I want to go in and add laser beams and explosions and stuff like that.
When I was younger, we did a class where they had 5 different whatevers. You learned how to do the 3D CAD machine. You build a thing, and then there was one of them was special effects, and I think it was Final Cut Pro. I don't know what it might have been a different program before that, but it was using a Mac computer, and me and my group, we made lights.
School. How to do that too.
That was so much fun. I was like, lightsaber battle. And me and my one friend were fighting because I was a Taekwondo champion at the time. So, So I was like, yes, we're doing this. And they're like, holy crap, she can do things I didn't know a girl could do.
Oh, heck yeah, girls can do anything.
I know, they don't think of that. They're like, I didn't know girls can fight.
Oh, heck yeah, I sword fight. I just got certified with the Society of American Fight Directors for quarterstaff, so I can beat people up with sticks.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yes.
I love sword fighting. That's like, that was my dream, and then I end up in Taekwondo. Actually, I wanted to do ballet, but that never happened. And I was like, I like to kick people. And Taekwondo is mainly kicking, so I went with Taekwondo.
It's probably more useful, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my arms aren't that strong. I don't know how people get strong arms. Like, yeah, I used to be able to do a million push-ups. Now I can't.
Oh, yeah.
Because I dislocated my shoulder, so there's no way. I was like, nope, but I can still kick your butt with my feet. I might not be able to kick as high as I used to because, you lose your flexibility when you don't stretch, and the Army did not have the proper stretches for someone as flexible as I was.
Oh, yeah.
I was like... This is how do you call this a stretch?
No, I know. I used to run half marathons, and I haven't done one of those in ages, and don't know that I could anymore. So
I doubt I could at all. I can't run.
I don't run anymore.
And then, you see people doing all this running stuff, and I was like, I wish I could, but, when I ran, every bone and, I felt every fiber for the first 3 miles, so it was painful every step. So, until 3 miles, that's all I felt was pain. So I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, my sister runs marathons all the time. And I'm like,
after that 3 miles, though, I can run more. So it's like I can run 10 miles after that first 3 miles. But that first 3 miles, I just want to kill myself. So yeah, avada me, okay? I want to avada me. Just avada me with that avada kedavra.
Can you do that spell on yourself? I
don't know. But I've seen it in fanfiction. But it could have been, you blasted at a mirror. You can hate yourself, right?
Yeah,
right. The mirror should reflect it, right? Unless
I wouldn't think. My wand doesn't seem to work. I keep trying to Accio stuff all the time, and it just doesn't work.
Yes, Accio. Come here, soda.
Yes, exactly. And the Force doesn't seem to work for me either.
I know. I always thought about that. I didn't learn of Star Wars until I was in middle school, and it was because my uncle... I tell this story a lot. My uncle had the VHS tapes, and I was like, what's this? He's like, you never heard of Star Wars? I was like, no, should I have? And he's like, here, borrow them. So I borrowed them, and then I ended up watching them every day for a year, 4, 5, and 6, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. So I watched those for a full year, but I didn't give them back until Christmas time when he gave me my set.
So you gave him the much-watched set and got a new one in return. That's not a bad deal.
I know, right? He's like, I want my set back.
But did you get the special edition, or did you get the original?
The original.
Yes.
And I also have the DVD special edition. I got, the remastered or whatever. I was like, no, Greedo did not shoot first. No, you added a scene with... Jabba the Hutt in here. And what really made me really upset about the remastered versions is that he replaced all the actors with the new actors. Yes,
that's true.
When they come Force Adept, it's the new actors, it's not the old ones. I was like, that's stupid. And what really upset me was that, I liked the practical effects they used in those movies.
Yes.
And those practical effects is what makes the movie awesome.
I agree completely.
He replaced those battles with computer animated battles, and I was upset.
I agree completely. I think all CGI still looks really flat. And maybe it'll get to the point where it looks completely realistic and you can't tell, but I still think you can't replace the real thing.
Did you see Rogue One?
I did.
What about Tarkin?
You know, I tell you, I liked Tarkin better than what they did for Princess Leia. Mm-hmm. And I think, too, if they had left it as you were seeing his reflection in the window, you know, I think that looked really good to me. Seeing his face full on, it wasn't bad, but there still seemed to be something quite just a little off. So, I don't know. What did you think?
I was like, they brought him back from the dead.
I mean, he did look amazing. They did do a great job.
I was like, they brought him back from the dead. He was like really old when he made that movie. I was like, how did they do that? I was like, I didn't realize it was an animation until after I looked into it. I was like, but my friend was like, my friend didn't even know it was not an actor until I pointed it out. And he was like, what? That wasn't a real person? I was like, they tricked you too? I was like, they brought him back from the dead? I was like, they should have brought Alec Baldwin back to the dead.
Oh, there you go. Well, you know, I mean, there was a real person under all of that, and then there was the CGI. But yeah, it was the reflection I thought looked amazing.
Like, one of my favorite video games was made by Ninja Theory, and they did only the effects with like these little, all her facial expressions were made with these little balls that were on her face, and it you would not know that it was an animation because of how detailed and realistic it looked. And they mixed video and the animation together. I was watching that. I was like, why'd you take the making of that game off your YouTube channel? I was always watching that because I was fascinated. I really enjoyed it. It was like, because, you know, they're an underground studio, and then guess who bought them? Microsoft. So you have to have an Xbox if you want to play their next game. I was like, shoot. I was like, I don't have an Xbox. I have a PlayStation 4.
PlayStation.
It's like, I hate when they do that to me, because, I switched to PlayStation.
Oh, yes.
I had an Xbox for a while, and I was like, no good games are coming out on this thing, so I'm just gonna switch to the game I want, because I like Quantic Dreams in their PlayStation only game. So Quantic Dreams is they came up with Indigo Prophecy, also known as Fahrenheit.
Okay.
And then the other game they came out with was Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and their newest one, I forgot what it's called. What is it called? Detroit. Detroit. Yes, I love that game, and I swear it's like their games are like interactive movies. Even the first one, which is Indigo Prophecy, which was for the Xbox and the PlayStation. I think it was 360. No, I don't know. It might have been the original Xbox. I'm not sure, but when that game came out, it was like you're watching a movie, and then you have to do a sequence of buttons in order to keep going. So you're doing a sequence as the movie is going, and you're like, I'm gonna hit the button. So it's like a pattern of buttons to do something, and it's
There's so many games out there now, and on so many different things. And like I said, I used to be a pretty big gamer. I mean, I played Civ all the time.
I really enjoy those movie games, man.
Yeah.
And there's this. I don't know who made this game. I can't remember, but it's Until Dawn, and it's a vampire game.
Yep.
I love that game so much, but if you stop playing for a while and go back, you're like, what was I doing?
What happened here?
And it's like,
what happened while it was gone?
I was like, oh crap, I gotta start over.
Well, I've gone back to old school. I play Tetris now.
I play those. I play the Harry Potter United Wizard United.
Yep.
Yes, I like playing that game, and it's like probably the only game I play on the phone now. I also play those trivia games because my dad likes to play those Facebook games.
I've done that before too. I have a Ghostbusters World on mine.
They have one. Is that like that?
It's like Wizards Unite, and actually it's a lot like Pokemon Go. You go around looking.
They're all made by Pokemon Go, I'm pretty sure. The people who made Pokemon Go made this one. They're like, this is the goodest scheme ever.
But it's the same game.
It is. I'm pretty sure, but it's like, but I want to be Harry Potter. I want to do spells. I want to be a magician. I like fighting battles and all these things and all that. And I was like, I was never interested in Pokemon.
But you like the Harry Potter game? Have you been enjoying that one?
I haven't been able to do it as often as I would like because of all the things going on in my life. But when I like have a free time or it's like I'm traveling, I was like, ooh, there's some stuff here. I'm gonna grab some stuff.
Yes, I will eventually probably get Wizards Unite. I'm still, like I said, working my way through Ghostbusters World, and I don't know that my phone could handle all of that awesomeness.
Oh my gosh! So I chose the profession of professor. Because I couldn't think of being an aura because it's like almost as bad as being a dark wizard to me. So I was like, I can't be a beast person either. I know I like Newt and all, but I am totally a professor. So I'm like, it's the even ground between being that and the other thing. So I was like, yes, I'm gonna be the middleman. And my friend's like, I'm an aura, and I was like, I'm a professor. And I was like, there was no way I was gonna be Newt Scamander.
Oh, yes.
I like Newt and all, but I am definitely not a Hufflepuff.
No, I am not either. Have you been sorted?
I'm a Slytherin.
You're I'm a Gryffindor.
Gryffindor!
I was sorted into Gryffindor.
I was sorted into Slytherin on Pottermore.
Yes. Although I haven't been on Pottermore in a while.
Me neither. I just sorted myself and never went into
That's about it, but yes, me too.
And I was like, I don't remember how to get on Pottermore.
I know. I'm sure my account's still on there somewhere. Yeah. I'd have to look up my password. It's been so long.
It's been so long. It's like, do I even have the email address that is associated with that account? Do I have to make a new one? And I think I made a Patronus as well. I'm not sure.
Oh.
But I'm also playing the Harry Potter game that's on the phone. It's Hogwarts Mystery.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's the lamest game ever, I have to say. But the story is what I'm waiting for. Like, you have to, like, it's pretty much you have to have energy to keep going and whatever, and you're just tapping buttons and tapping things. I was like, come on. Though the best part was the dueling. So when they open up the dueling, it's like, yes, I'm gonna kick your butt, and you're playing other players. I was like, they need to do this.
Yes.
And I was like, the comments I put on their Twitter was, you need to make a Quidditch. I want to play Quidditch.
Yes. Okay, now I could get on board with that.
Right? I was like, you need to make a Quidditch game. You know, like, make a side game so we could play Quidditch.
You know, we actually had the Quidditch World Cup down here in this area a couple of years ago. I didn't get a chance to go, but yeah.
That had to be fun. Like, they used to, like, I remember there was a PlayStation game that was just the Quidditch game. I played it a lot. And I never really liked Quidditch when I was reading it. That's why I didn't understand the book, the first one. But that's why I put it down. And then I saw the movie and I was like, oh, that's Quidditch. And I was like, okay, I'll read the rest.
Now it makes sense.
Now it makes sense. I couldn't. And I was like, I just like Snape, so I'm reading it for Snape people. That's the only reason why I read this series was Snape. I was like, and then, you know, Harry Potter Puppet Pals, Snape,
yes.
Snape, Severus Snape, Dumbledore, Ron Weasley.
I have seen those as well. Those are brilliant.
I was like, I like that. And then, of course, my favorite would be the very Potter musical.
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
I liked the one where Lucius Malfoy goes back in time.
I actually belong to a group that does a show called Potter Live in 45.
Oh, yeah?
Where we do all 7 books in 45 minutes.
How does that work?
Yes, very carefully.
And you do that every time?
Yes, we've done it. Let's see. We just had a show this past summer. Our next show will be at RavenCon in April.
Oh.
Where we were performing Potter Live in 45.
Oh, that's so cool. Potter Live in 45 minutes.
Yes, all 7 books.
All 7 books. That sounds like a magical feat.
magical feat.
Yes.
And I think we go over a few minutes, but it's very close.
Yeah, I would imagine, practice makes perfect, right?
Perfect. Exactly.
Perfect practice makes perfect, right? I can't remember how it goes. But yeah, I've watched this, I really got into this time-traveling ballerina show on Hulu.
What?
Yes, there is a ballerina time-traveling show on Hulu, and I believe it's Find Me in Paris or something like that. I forgot. But, oh my god, I got addicted to the show, and I'm like, bring out more episodes. Bring them out! Bring them out now! And like they have my favorite character is the Time Collectors, and I was like, it's Draco Malfoy.
Is it really?
No, but I was like, that's what he reminds me of. The one from it's like a combination of Draco Malfoy and the one from A Very Potter Musical. Combine the two and make him a boy who doesn't wear diapers. And I was like, yes, that's him. And of course he wears a plaid suit, and it's green. And he has blonde hair. Yeah, he's definitely Draco Malfoy.
Draco.
I can't remember what his name is for the life of me, but I was like, I'm crushing on this little kid. I was like,
I'm almost afraid to start any new shows. I get hooked on a show and then it gets canceled. I loved watching Penny Dreadful, and then that one went away. I was like, oh, what do I watch now?
I felt, what do you think of them canceling Krypton?
Oh my goodness.
I am so upset. I was like, I just got into the show and you're just going to say no more? How dare you?
That happens to me all the time. I'll get hooked on a show and then it's gone.
And they did that with Inhumans.
Yes.
I love that one.
Shows.
And it had to, I don't know what his real name is, but I call him King of the Bastards. Because he was in Game of Thrones.
Oh, yes.
I was like, the King of the Bastards is playing this evil guy, and I really enjoyed the show, and I was like, what are you doing? But I know why it failed is because they cut Medusa's hair. Medusa's hair requires a lot of so it's like you cut Medusa's hair and you fucked yourselves because you didn't want to do that special effect, but that special effect would have kept you in business.
That's what sold the show.
Yes,
exactly.
So it's like she had her hair for like maybe the first episode, maybe the second, and then she had no hair. So it's like, yeah, you just screwed yourselves.
That was good.
I really like Gifted, though.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. What's that on?
I think it's Fox, but let's see, Gifted. It's another X-Men type show.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, what the hey? Where is it? Blah, 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 blah. well, apparently there's a lot of things called Gifted.
Oh, yes.
So I'm like, that's not it. The Gifted Mutant is at the show. Gifted Season 2. What? I want the show. Okay.
There's so many going away, and then Supernatural's going away. That one's done.
Yeah, it's done.
Yep.
I never got into that one, actually. The Gifted. Okay, found it. Okay, so it's Fox. So you know that they might cancel it because they're famous for canceling stuff. However, guess who owns it now? Guess who owns Fox now?
Disney?
Yes.
Yes.
I was like, yes! Does that mean the X-Men are gonna join the Avengers?
Now, I actually would like to see that.
I know, right? I was like, oh, X-Men, join the Avengers.
That.
I know, it's like X-Men. And I love Legion. That show is awesome. Like, it's another X-Men series. And it's, I guess, let's see, I think it's a Fox show too. Or it might be FX.
There's so many things out there right now.
But Legion is about the son of Xavier. And it's the most bizarre show you will ever watch, because it's like the premise of the show, it's like they want to see what limits they can go with special effects.
Really?
Yes, and you're like
that.
so it's like really fun to watch, and I was like, you cancel this show, I will come at you. And like I think like the first couple episodes you're like, I don't know what's going on, I'm just gonna watch it anyway, and then you're like, I'm still just watching it anyway, what is wrong with me? Oh my god, this is good, but I don't know what the hell they're doing. and then like I watched the last episode of the last scene, and I was like, there's no more, there's gotta be more. How dare you do this to me? This is like a cliffhanger of the year. I'm dangling on a cliff and I can't figure out where I'm going.
Well, what else do you watch?
Let's see. I watch Supergirl.
Yes.
And I'm excited about Batwoman.
Oh, yes, I'm excited about that one, too.
That's a spin-off from Supergirl, actually. So I was really excited because, you know, they went to a weird dimension and they saw Batwoman.
Yes.
I was like, I want... And I was like, I hope she gets her own show.
There it is.
So
yes,
excited.
I am looking forward to seeing that one.
Because, you know, Gotham was canceled, or ended, and I was like, oh, why'd you do that to me? I want Gotham back. And then they're like, well, we're gonna bring out the Batwoman. I was like, okay, I'll watch that.
Get on board with that. Yeah.
I like when females are superheroes.
I do too. And it'll be interesting to see how they handle her character.
Because she was like a female Bruce, except mean.
Yes.
Like very mean. Like I think she was like upset that Bruce is gone or whatever, and she's like, she's not gonna be like, I feel like she's like a combination of Batman and Joker if they had a baby.
I could
and
see
was
that.
female. That's what I was like, is she the Joker or is she Batman? When I first saw her in Supergirl, I was like, I'm so confused. Is she the good guy or the bad guy? I don't care, but I was like, I hope she gets her own show. And then all of a sudden, like a couple years later, I was like, oh, what? She's getting her own show. Yay! That's what I'm talking about. It's like, I was a DC fan way before I was a Marvel fan.
Yes, I'm a big Batman fan.
Me too. So I was like, I will totally watch Batwoman.
I will too. Yes, one of my cosplays is Robin.
Oh yeah,
and got a group here that kind of does. One guy does Batman. We've got a Batgirl and a Catwoman. So we have done some conventions together.
Those have to be fun. I always wanted to do those, and I always wanted to cosplay. Never got to do that.
At all?
No.
No. Well, it's more hard work. Yet one more thing to add to your plate.
I know. It's like, I have so much stuff to do. I gotta wait. And everybody's like, you're gonna be old by the time you do this. I'm like, well, I have to get my degree so I can get a job that pays lots of money so I can do what I want to do for fun.
Yes. Seriously. What do you do at school?
Animation. So I'm taking 4 classes, and they're all online because there's no way I'm gonna afford $3,000 a month to live in San Francisco.
No, I don't know how anyone does.
I don't know how anybody does. I don't know how, like, I'm pretty sure student loans, but even student loans can only get you so far.
Yes.
This semester I'm taking photography, digital photography, Introduction to Animation Principles and Techniques, which is my stop motion class. I'm doing a storyboarding principles class and the principles of compositing, which is the Photoshop After Effects class. And my the visual effects, the cover that they show, it's a Harry Potter poster.
Really?
Yes. So I was really excited about this class. I was like, am I going to learn how to give people superpowers? That's what I want to know.
Now that would be, yes, I would like to learn that effect as well.
I was like, I want to give people superpowers.
Well, when do you finish up with everything?
I will be graduating in the spring of 2021.
So not quite 2 years.
Not quite 2 years. So yeah. So when I first started, when I transferred all my stuff to the school, it was 2 years in one semester. Now I'm in my 3rd semester now.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm just gonna keep going until I die. I was like, I can do this. And I was like, this is hard. This is really hard. What was I thinking? I'm still doing it. And they're like, and then I'm pretty sure all the other students that are in my class are much younger than me. But it's all online, so they can't tell how old I am.
Exactly. Well, and here's something, because I'm taking production classes as well. Do you think it makes a difference being in an actual classroom as opposed to learning online?
It could. It depends on how good the teacher is, or how good you are at teaching yourself, because basically online classes is you're teaching yourself how to do things, and you don't really rely on the teacher as much as you would if it was in a classroom. Like, you could actually, hey, smack the teacher and make them look at you. Because when I took these Maya classes, and my professor never answered my questions, so I had to do he never helped me with the rendering thing. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I could cut the rendering time if I could figure out how. But yeah, it took 72 hours to render a film that was 15 seconds long, and I'm pretty sure it was because I had too many lights in my scene.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't understand. It didn't take this long the last time I rendered a video, which I only had one light. And they're like, the more light you put, the more render time. I was like, oh, now you tell me, thank you. And it was a mentor in the Discord chat that we have for the school. At least it's a student-run one. I don't know what the one for the actual school is. No one has introduced me to that one yet. I know there's one official one, but I have never found it. I was like, well, whatever. They'll invite me eventually.
I remember hearing a great story about when they were making the movie Shrek.
Oh, yeah.
They had set something to render overnight. It was something for Donkey. Mm-hmm. And there was some glitch in the program, and when they came back the next morning, Donkey looked like a chia pet. Yes, apparently something had gone wrong with the rendering program, and it just went all over the place, and he was this big furry blob.
Yeah. Rendering is like a nightmare.
Yes, modern technology. Although I'm sure it's gotten much better since then.
Yeah. I don't know if Maya is the best program for it, because before I went to this school I was using 3D Max and I didn't have this much trouble. So when I switched to Maya because of this school, I was like, I want to murder you all for making me change programs. I know all the shortcuts for the other program, and now it's like, first I used to know how to use Blender, and then I finally learned how to use 3D Max, and then they're like, here's Maya. I was like, no. And from what I hear, when you're in a larger studio or whatever, they have their own programs that they create, and you can use Maya or whatever and then import it to their program and do whatever. So it's like I could use whatever I want if I wasn't going to the school.
That makes sense. And I'm familiar with Blender. I use Blender to do some 3D printing stuff.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, that's a pretty good program. And
So do you have a 3D printer, or do you go somewhere to print it?
I go somewhere to print it. The school that I am at has a great creator space, and they have a fabulous 3D printer. And so we just go, you can download things off of Thingiverse, which is this great online community where people upload files of things they've rendered or done for 3D printing, and you can download them, and then if you need to change them, you can put them in Blender. I am terrible at doing the actual computer stuff. I tried working with a program called Tinkercad to do some actual design. Yeah, not so much. So I usually go get someone else's.
That's okay. You don't have to be good at everything. I'm pretty sure you might be good at something, though, since you know how to find things in a closet and make an outfit work, right?
Exactly.
And I actually own a sewing machine.
Yes.
And it's in German. I think it's in German, and it's in metric. So I have to buy a new panel for it, so it's like in English, because I can't find the metric instructions here. It's like, I need the metric instructions. They're like, what are you talking about?
What kind of machine is it?
I think it's I forgot. I have a Singer also, so I'm not.
Oh, yes.
But it's a German one, so I can't remember what it's called. But it's real. It's like a really. It was like $1,200. So when I bought it, so.
They can run the gamut. My mom has an embroidery machine that I think costs as much as a car.
Oh yeah, they can be expensive. I didn't it's a decent sewing machine. It doesn't have all the stops, but it has enough stops so that when I want to make my own costume eventually, I can do it. I just know how to make pillowcases and curtains and simple.
But that's a start.
Simple things. So I made a teddy bear once. I was like, eventually I'll learn how to do this, but right now it's on the back burner because my degree comes first.
I was about to say, it's not like you don't have anything else to do.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to school for TV producing or
television, and I'm actually studying that at we've got our local cable access station, which is where I'm studying our television production, and am working on a documentary to try to just for studying and learning, and doing camera work, and as I said, tried to learn my Final Cut Pro, or got my Final Cut Pro class, but again, things change daily, it seems.
It does seem that way. And if you use the Adobe programs, they can change daily because they're online now in the cloud.
There's all sorts of programs you can use. I don't know if you're familiar with a program called DaVinci.
Yes, DaVinci.
Yes, we have used that one as well, and there's constantly upgrades and things to that. So it's so much to learn. There
is, and some things you can see similarities between other things, and then when Blender, you can get a mask for it, I guess is what you call it, and it'll organize it better so it looks like something easier to play with.
Yeah.
Because, Maya, I can say, is a little harder than 3D Max to me.
Oh,
I don't know if there's
either of those.
I don't know how to explain it, but the interface, I like the interface better in 3D Max. So I'd be in Blender, it's hard to find whatever the hell you're trying to do. You have to know those shortcuts to make everything work pretty much. Yep. So I learned all those shortcuts, and then I was and then my teacher's you can get this for this, you can get this skin for this, and it will reorganize your Blender. I was like, are you kidding me? There's a skin you could put on it and make it organized. That is so nice.
Got used to the way it looks now.
I was like, man, if I knew that existed. It probably didn't exist when I was using Blender, because it's been around for a while, and that's what a lot of people use nowadays because it's free. It's a free program. If it wasn't a free program, not a lot of people would use it.
Yeah, well, and it actually is not a bad program to be a free program. It's worked really well for me on the stuff that I needed to do, and mind you, I don't get very technical on a lot of my programming and work, but yes, it's definitely a good one to have.
Yes, I use Maya now, and I'm I'm good at building things, so building things I'm good at. I'm still trying to learn how to make a character. I made a character, but it was in pieces. I made the hand, I made a face, I made, whatever, shoes and clothes that was separate, and then you put it on a skeleton and whatever. I want to make a solid character, from the feet to the fingers to the excuse me. My Mountain Dew said hello.
Rude.
I'm rude. I am Groot. Oh my. But yeah, so I was I want to make a solid character. That's what I want to do. I was but I learned how to make a face. That was the hardest thing I ever did in my life, was making that face. I was this was so difficult. I'm so confused. And I didn't even make it to the parameters of what my teacher did. So I was whatever, it's mine. It's mine. I claim this face as mine. I didn't put eyebrows on it because I don't know what I did wrong, but I didn't put enough forehead there for eyebrows. So
there's so much of a learning curve on everything. When I first started learning how to 3D print, there'd be so many times where I didn't line the print nozzles up right, and I ended up with this art that looks like birds' nests because it'll just print all over the place.
Yes.
Well, I can't use that.
You're this is a learning curve here.
Exactly. Well, it's like the rendering. You can set something to render, and Donkey, it might explode.
Or me, you're looking at the computer, it's still rendering, and it's on frame 59, and it's been 24 hours, and you're fuck.
3 years later. Yeah.
Yes. And you're like, this is a 15-second video, and it's on frame 200, and it's been 48 hours.
Oh, yes. I have had that with some of my video editing projects. Yeah.
I was like, why is it taking so long? And it's using 7 gigabytes of RAM of my...
It is using every ounce of things your computer has.
Yes, and it's like, I can't use this computer for anything because it's rendering. I'm like, this is why I'm glad I have 3 bloody computers.
Well, and I was looking at getting a MacBook just to use for Final Cut Pro editing, and I guess I would have to get a fairly recent one, otherwise it won't work with the program anymore. So all the things, all the modern technology things.
And my problem is my MacBook made me update, and then the new OS for Mac does not work with Maya.
Yes.
I was like,
frustrating.
What? Why won't it render? It's because the new OS does not like Maya.
They'll not talk to each other.
I was like, what is going on? It's not doing anything. So I had to download the newer version of Maya to my computer because it wasn't working on my Mac. And then that took forever. And then I had to, you bring my files over to my other computer. And I was like, okay, it's going to render now. Boom, I crashed that computer. I was like,
oh.
I was like, no, what do I do now?
Did you lose everything?
No, thankfully. I had to get a new computer, so I got a desktop now, and some reason it's still slow when it comes to rendering. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm done. I was like, I don't know, should I change to film just for this rendering thing? I'm like, do I have to render in my next class? If I have to render in my next class, I might consider going to film just so I don't have to render for like 35 hours.
Oh, man. I know, it takes forever. And that, I had something similar with my sewing machine. I've got an embroidery machine as well. And it was that you could plug it into your laptop and, download files from the internet and print and embroider those out. Well, now the software has gotten so advanced and my machine is so old that it won't talk to my computer anymore. So I'm like, oh, darn it.
That's what happened to my mom.
Yes.
With her phone and her computer, iTunes.
iTunes.
And her computer won't use the new it won't let me install the new iTunes.
Yeah.
Because her OS doesn't compensate for the new iTunes. I was like, Mom, I can't get the new iTunes to work on your computer because your computer is too old. And she's like, but I want my songs on my phone. I was like, well, you're gonna need to get a new computer. Or you'll have to bring the computer, or you have to bring all your music to my house so I can put it on my computer so that I can put your music on your phone.
Then put it on the phone. Yep.
It's such a complicated
thing. You have to buy all the new stuff.
It's like, why? This is stupid. Stupid.
I know, because my old stuff still works fine.
Her computer's really slow, and I think I know it's definitely older than my laptop that I have that I'm working on for the show. It's my Asus gaming laptop is what I'm using for the show. Some reason Skype or any voice programs on my desktop does not work very well. The sound cuts, and I can't figure out what. I was like, what? Why does it do that? I don't understand. I never had this issue, and I always used a laptop. But some reason on my desktop it doesn't work as well. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm doing my talk show from a laptop.
Yeah, my laptop is getting so full, and I know that I'm going to have to get a new one pretty soon, especially with all the video editing, because that takes up a lot of space.
It depends I would say getting a gaming laptop that you can expand, like you can add stuff to it. Because my gaming laptop is pretty old, like maybe 2015 old. So, and all I did was upgrade the hard drive to a solid state drive, and now my whatever hard drive it came with is now the backup. And I can also...
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so if you can get a gaming computer, you can always upgrade it. You can upgrade it to a point. It won't let you go beyond a certain point, but you can still upgrade it.
That's better than what I've got now. I have so many different projects going between video and photo and writing, and then and I actually do get on the internet and do email and stuff like that. So
yes, it's like running your own business.
Yes,
because you have all these side things, and you're like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and then I want to do video too, but it's like, but it's so much work. I don't know how people do this all the time, and they're like, then I was like, maybe they don't do as much as I do. It's like, I run a radio station. I make sure the DJs play on the radio station. I make sure I control all the music. I talk to all the musicians who submit their music. I talk to the non-profit businesses that want to put commercials on there. I do all stuff in the background that I don't realize is, a lot of work. I do all this stuff in the background that I don't realize is a lot of work that not one human being can do, but apparently I do it. I don't know how.
Yes, you sound about like me. I know how that goes. Three jobs, and then taking classes, and then writing and doing video stuff and other things on the side. 501st and conventions and sword fighting. Yes.
Yes, and then of course I make logos for anybody who asks. I'm on Fiverr, people.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I was just recently on that site. I didn't know you were on there.
Yeah, I'm on Fiverr. No one has purchased my stuff, but I do editing for people, and for books I do the editing stuff, and I also do logo design and voiceovers.
Oh, so you can do voiceovers on Fiverr as well? Mm-hmm. I did not know that.
Yes, it's so much fun. So, I haven't gotten any sales or anything, but I don't really advertise it because I'm like, I'm busy anyway. So it's there if they want to hire me, and if they hire me, of course I'm going to do the job, right? So
yep.
That's cool.
I did not know that. Yeah, when I was working on my website designer said, go on Fiverr and get somebody to do a logo for you. And if I had known, I would have totally gotten you to do my logo.
Yeah, I do logos. I do posters. When my mom reminds me, hey, make this poster for Legion, I was like, okay, I'll do that. I made, the last poster I made was for the chili cook-off for the American Legion in Huntley, and I made it so it looked like a vintage poster, so it looked like it was older, because I wanted to try a different type of style.
That's really cool. So what program did you use for that?
Photoshop and Illustrator.
Illustrator.
I used Illustrator. I think actually I only used Illustrator for that, actually, because I made it like a bigger than normal paper, so like bigger than regular paper. So yeah, I used Illustrator because it was easier to have the frames and things, because you can use these lines. I think you could do it in Photoshop too, but it was so much easier using Illustrator for me.
Yes,
because you can make shapes and things with it that you can't do in Photoshop. So it's like, I'm using this program because it's a lot, and you can I learned in type class, which is typography. I learned how to make my own font. Well, not really my own font, but I don't know how to put it in font so you can type it and stuff, but I learned how to make my own letters and things.
That's something I've always wanted to do as well. And in fact, you reminded me of something. So you go back and forth between programs too, because when I do a lot of photo editing, I find myself going Photoshop and then Paint, and then I actually saved an old version of Picasa and do a lot of stuff in that. Yes, I love Picasa.
I bounce around from Illustrator to Photoshop to this to that, and it's like I even use GIMP. I don't know if you know what GIMP is.
I do, yes.
It's like the free version of Photoshop, but there's no organization to it at all. And it's like, instead of having a window and it holds all your things are everywhere.
Yeah. Well, do you have a favorite program?
I like Photoshop, but I also like GIMP, and I also like Illustrator. So it's like Illustrator, if I draw something by hand, I will bring it into Illustrator and I will trace it in Illustrator, then I will bring that image to Photoshop, and then I will color and do all that stuff in Photoshop, and then from there I might take it to Lightroom.
Okay, I've not worked with that one, but I've heard of it.
yeah, so I haven't really worked with it that much, but it's pretty interesting to add lights with it, and it's like you add a third dimension to it. Like a fourth dimension. There's 4 dimensions now.
Wow. Yeah, I've not worked with Lightroom either.
I haven't really worked with it, but I noticed that because like I have the whole CC program, so I was like, man, let's try this, and I play with things. I like when I was in when I took TV and radio broadcasting when I went to the school, the show that I did for the thing, we filmed it and all, but me and my teacher didn't like it very much, like how it turned out. So I learned a program called Character Animator. I taught myself this program, and I made the animation with this program, and it's called Blind Suitors Extreme Dating Gambit, and I have it on YouTube, and I have so many people who are like, you need to make more of these. They're like, why isn't there any more of these? I was like, well, because I have only one life to live. If I was 10 people, yes, I'd be working on this too. I actually have an idea for another one I want to do. I have a name for it, but it's like, you know how You're Not the Father? Yeah, I want to make one. I wanted to make a parody of that. I did a parody of a dating game. I was going to do a parody of You're Not the Father or something. And then I was going to do another parody. But it's so much work. It's like, I will get to this eventually.
I have so many ideas for things I want to do. I always wanted to do a video music spoof or music video spoof of, I think it's a Steve Miller Band that did Abracadabra, that song. Mm-hmm. I want to do one for Harry Potter and call it Nevada Kedavra.
Nevada Kedavra.
And do that, and
that would be so cool.
So many video projects.
And like, I also have a project on the side that I'm going to be doing, but it's probably going to be way later than I want it to be. But it's a spoof on Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Except I'm going to be doing it instead of reviewing watching B-rated movies or whatever. I'm going to do games and fashion and probably YouTube bloggers.
Nice.
And my Elvira is Jessica Darkstar, obviously, because that is me. Jessica Darkstar's I think it called it macabre artistry. Macabre.
There we go, yes.
Macabre artistry, and that's what I call it. It's like, what is that word? I can't remember. It's the macabre.
Macabre. That would be cool. I would watch that.
Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking of doing going in behind the scenes of video games and things, and but she's a cartoon character, and she's sitting in I already designed the set for the show. I designed the set. I just have
in your copious free time.
I know. I've designed the set, and there's things I would like I'm gonna have there's 3 frames that I have on there in the set, but I'm gonna put the video. It's gonna flip through different things that you might see in the show and a future show and stuff. So it's gonna take a lot of production effort. So it might not come out for another year or so, because I'm going to school, people. I'm not just. I work for First Transit. I answer calls for people who want to reserve their buses, and then I go to school, and then what else do? I run this radio station you're listening to, which the most fun I have is doing the show, Aimless Banter, which is 4 to 6 p.m. PST, 6 to 8 p.m. CST, and 7 to 9 p.m. EST, and apparently 9 a.m. in Australia. And this show is the most fun I have, because I get to talk with someone, and you get to learn all kinds of things about the other person that you wouldn't have learned otherwise. It's oh my god, she's a nerd just like me, I'm so happy. I'm not the only one. oh my god, she's in 501st. I always wanted to be in 501st. I learned some new things just because I perved your Facebook page. I was like, I know that. I have friends in that, except, they're all over the United States.
All over the world. We even had, at one point, one trooper in Antarctica. He was stationed down there, I think it was with the Australian Royal Navy, as a matter of fact. Mm-hmm. And he took his stormtrooper armor with him, ran outside real quick, got a picture, and ran back in.
Oh, nice.
So we very briefly had a trooper in Antarctica.
That would have been cool.
But we've got
was it cold and snowy?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. It was cold. Yeah.
It's cold. Brr. Brr. I was like, I don't want to go to the North or South Pole. No, thank y'all.
Well, I lived in Minnesota for 3 years, and I loved being there. I was in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
That was where I was working on Sesame Street Live. But loved the city, but being a good Southern girl, I just couldn't take the winters.
Yeah. I lived in Georgia for a while. I cannot take that humidity.
Yeah, that's the extreme.
Oh, it was like the humidity is like the worst.
Then we're just
I lived in Arizona for a while. I was like, this is heaven. I didn't get sick the whole time I was in Arizona, and then I had to go back to Georgia. I was like, no, I don't want to go back. And guess what I got when I got back to Georgia? I got pneumonia.
Oh.
I was like, what? How do you catch pneumonia when it's not even snowing on the ground?
Well, it is like living in a pressure cooker. It's so hot and so humid. So it's, stuff just sticks around. Mm-hmm.
So I had caught pneumonia, and the Army kept saying, you're not. They kept putting me on bed rest. They made me go to sick call every day, and then they put me on bed rest. And they're like, they couldn't explain what I was. I was like, this is freaking pneumonia. Just say it's pneumonia. Put me on bed rest for a month, and just give me all the medicine you can. And
I was about to say, yes. Give me some antibiotics.
Basically, I couldn't go outside because of my condition, but they kept making me to go to sick call every day to be told to go home and go to bed. It was the worst thing ever. I was like, I have pneumonia. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you making me go outside? It was cold, but there was no snow, so. But it was like, I sounded like worse than Darth Vader, and for a while I sounded like a chibi animation Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
But I was like a little tiny girl, like chibi Sailor Moon. It was like, I was like, you don't want to hear me talk. I was like, it was like I was on helium or something, but it was like the high-pitched voice, and it was also like Darth Vader because of the breathing, and I was like, I wish I recorded this.
Well, Darth Vader's a very popular character. You could have maybe
made a fortune.
Exactly. I know he's one of the most often requested characters from the 501st. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves Darth Vader.
Everyone loves Darth Vader.
Yes.
I love Darth Vader. He was actually my favorite character in Star Wars.
Really?
Yes.
It's interesting. I always loved C-3PO. I don't know why.
C-3PO was pretty cool.
Yes. Gold and shiny.
I pretty much had a fantasy between Leia and Darth Vader, and then I realized,
oh, that would be bad.
And then I realized that he was her father. I was like,
yeah,
I was mortified.
I think a lot of fan fiction writers were too when that came out. Yeah.
It's like, what? And also Luke and Leia, I was like, what?
Yeah, that too.
It's like, what are you doing to me? And I'm like, I bet you $1 million that I don't have their imaginary dollars that Rey is related to Ben.
Oh, do you think?
Yes.
There's been a lot of speculation about that.
I bet they are cousins.
It'll be interesting to see what they do. Are you looking forward to the next movie?
I am. It comes out in Christmas. They do this to me all the time. And I want to see that Mandalorian movie.
Oh, I'm really excited about the Mandalorian. I got to see a preview of that when I was at Star Wars Celebration earlier this year, and it looks amazing.
Woo! And I really like the Solo one because, I don't know what it is with me, but I like to spot people from other things. I was like, I know this lady. Who is this lady with dark hair that, you know, likes Han Solo. I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. And then I was like, Daenerys, the mother of dragons. Because, you know, her hair was brown in that movie. So
That's right.
I was like, I know. And then you're like, oh my God, Darth Maul gets another line.
Yes.
You're like, he got more than one line. Finally. Thank you. And I really like when the Darth Maul book came out. I forgot what it's called, but I bought the book because I was upset there was not enough Maul in the first movie.
I was upset about Captain Phasma.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, they made this character up to be a really big badass character, and then they dump her in the trash compactor.
Yeah. It's
and
like, why did you do
yes,
that?
Exactly.
And
why?
it's like...
Speaking of someone from Game of Thrones, there you go, Gwendolyn Christie.
Mm-hmm.
But I do wish they had done more with her.
For which movie?
With Star Wars, The Last Jedi and Force Awakens. Yes, Captain Phasma. That's Gwendolyn Christie.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I was upset. You know, also another the Game of Thrones actor she plays what's her name? She becomes the Queen of the North.
oh, yes.
Dark Phoenix.
Yes.
I was really excited about that movie, and then, you know, unfortunately, Disney bought Fox. So they this is not going to be 3 movies anymore. This is just going to be 1. And I was like, why did you do that? You should have made it 3 regardless. I was like, it was a pretty good movie. I have to for what it was, but I was so upset. They should have had more. Like, it should have been expanded a bit more. I felt like they really rushed it.
Yes. No, I would agree with that.
But I really liked the effects they used for her powers as the Phoenix. Yeah. It was so impressive. I was like, I wish they made this a trilogy like they originally planned. It would have been epic.
I know. Well, then they shoved everything all together into one. I agree. I think it would have been better as a trilogy.
Because, you know, you can't just bring in aliens. You just can't bring in aliens and think I'm going to be accepting of them.
Yes. No.
It's like, you just threw these alien things at me. And I was like, what? I don't believe in aliens. I know I watched MIB and I liked MIB, but when you throw aliens into a X-Men movie, you better have some big explanation of how that happened.
Where that came about. Well, and you know, you've reminded me, speaking of MIB, did you see MIB International?
I haven't, but I've been wanting to. I saw the first 2.
Same here, and I haven't seen the international one yet either, so I was just curious as to what other people were thinking. It didn't seem to do very well.
Well, you gotta say it wasn't the main characters aren't Will Smith, and so it, of course not. You know, everybody's like, but it's new people. You know, so they're like, kind of like when they made the girls Ghostbusters movie.
Oh, I have to admit, I did enjoy that.
I enjoyed it. I just didn't see it at the movie theater.
I know a lot of people did. And I actually did enjoy the new Girl Ghostbuster movie, but
I really enjoyed the music in the new Ghostbuster music. Yes. I really enjoyed the music because I liked Missy Elliott, and
yes.
So like when she did that with I forgot who that band is. So it's a rock band.
I can't remember either.
Fall Out Boy. So Fall Out Boy, Missy Elliott did I'm Not Afraid, the Ghostbusters song. I was like, I really like this song. And of course I like Missy Elliott. I mean, to freak on, go. So I was like, that's the last time I listened to her. So it was like hearing her again. I was like, oh, did she have new stuff? I didn't know. Kind of like somebody said they're going to see a Backstreet Boy concert, or they went to see. I was like, wait. They're still alive?
They are. They're still touring.
I was like, are they playing the same music they've been playing since 2000? Or are they playing new stuff?
I know they're actually going to be here in this area where I am in Charlotte, North Carolina, before too long, or maybe they've already been through. I can't remember, but yeah, they're still out and about. It's pretty amazing, actually.
I was like, I didn't know. I used to listen to them. My favorite song is "Larger Than Life."
I love that song.
And my first concert I ever went to was NSYNC.
Oh.
And they had the Super Soakers and they were flying over us, and I forgot what song. My favorite song of theirs is "No Strings Attached."
I have not seen NSYNC. Well, I haven't seen the Backstreet Boys in concert either, but I just actually saw Weird Al Yankovic.
They did some really weird stage stuff. So they were like on bungee cords over everybody and using spray guns and squirting everyone. That's all I remember from that. I don't even remember their music and how the show actually went. It was for a birthday present. I went to see them and it was pretty cool. But it's like the only thing I liked about boy bands is their dance choreography and their videos. Yes. So I know how to do the dances in those videos that they have, and that's what I was always interested in. Learning how to do all those cool dances. Sometimes
they could do some amazing things. Mm-hmm. The Backstreet Boys, their song "Everybody," I think that video won an Emmy, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
The one with all the classic movie monsters. I really liked that one.
And then I always thought like they over-sexifies females when they like in the pop culture.
Yeah.
I was like, because I liked Britney Spears music and all, but I felt like they like oversold her sexually.
Yes, and then her career just kind of died is the right way. Yeah, tanked. There we go. That's
tanked. It went. She went into drugs and things. But one of my sergeants said they met her in person, Britney Spears, and she was really smart. Like she knew quantum physics smart. So I was like, why did this brain turn into this bimbo because of Hollywood or whatever? I don't know who owns the music business, but I was like, you turn somebody who's really intelligent to this really sexified object.
Yes. Well, and it really had an effect too.
Like and I feel like I'm like, I prefer Amy Lee over Britney Spears.
Yes.
And Amy Lee is Evanescence, and I discovered that band because I liked Daredevil movie, if you recall that movie.
Yes.
The one with the black kingpin.
I do remember, yes.
So everybody's like, I don't like the Daredevil movie, blah blah blah. It was the worst movie ever. I was like, but it has good music.
That can make up for a lot.
It does. Really I was like, if that music wasn't as good as it was, and I didn't discover Evanescence to that movie, I wouldn't have watched it as many times as I did. And they're like, you watched that movie how many times? I was like, 1 million probably by now. And they're like, why? And I was like, because of the music.
The music was great.
And the story was pretty decent. It wasn't like horrible. But yeah, I know you're like, but the Kingpin isn't black. I was like, so? At least they're giving a black man a job.
I only saw it once, and that was a while ago. But yes, I do remember that.
Because, in the cartoon and the animation, he was white. I was like, so? I was like, what would you say if I did a female production of a reverse gender of Les Miserables?
Oh.
That's what I want to do eventually. So that is what my goal is eventually to do, is reverse gender Les Miserables.
Just add that to your list?
Yes, that's my list of things to do in the future. I want to be Javert. That's my favorite character.
Oh, that would be pretty cool.
I would like to be Javert, and I could do Jean Valjean because I know all their songs. So, but I would like to be the female Javert because they did the first black Javert a few years ago when they did the 25th anniversary on the television.
That's right.
Yeah, so I was like, yes, I want to be the first female Javert. I want to do the reverse gender thing for that, and I would do that for probably what's the other one I liked? What was it? Oh, Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, Phantom of the Opera.
Could you imagine that being reverse gender?
That would actually be pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I was like, and people are like, what are you doing? I was like, because most of the people I know who like these things are girls, so if we reverse the gender, it would be so much easier.
It really would. I love both those shows. I got the chance to see them both on Broadway. And,
I saw
tour.
them on the Les Mis and the Chicago Opera Theater.
Well, yeah.
And I saw the Magic Flute there, and I saw another opera that I can't remember. It was about some person who was a mistress to somebody, and then there was an opera. That's all I remember. But like this guy insulted her by throwing money at her. I can't remember what that was called. Yeah, so I was like, I think it was an Italian.
That sounds about right.
I just can't remember it. I saw that's the 3 things I saw there.
I've never much gotten into actual opera. I spent one summer working at the Santa Fe Opera, and that about did it for me. Not much of an opera person.
Not many people are, but I enjoy singing it.
Oh, well, they do have... Yes, the music is good.
And I enjoy listening to it, and yes, so it's like I would do musicals over opera, but I will do opera if somebody asks me to.
If given the opportunity.
Yes, if someone asked me to, I would do it. So it's like, what the hell is your problem, Jessica? You have all these things going on at the same time. Do you not have time for your family? I was like, what family? Then my family's like, what? I'm offended. You don't want to hang out. And I was like, you didn't want to hang out with me for 8 years while I was in the army, so why is it any different if I'm home? At least you can come stop by if you want.
Oh.
But it's like, I have to do this degree thing so I can get an education, so I can do all this other things that I want to do with my life. I'll probably be in school forever, I feel. Even though I'm graduating in 2021. Woo! It feels like...
Yes, but that's going to be the best feeling.
Oh, yes, it is. And it's going to be right before, I think, let's see, my 35th birthday.
Oh, wow. Well, see, and you still have plenty of life and plenty of years ahead of you.
So, yeah, and is the degree you're going for, is it a master's?
Well, this isn't what I'm doing isn't so much a degree program as I get certifications as I go.
Okay, so yeah, that's what I did for my TV and radio broadcasting. I got a diploma from that.
Yes. Yep. So I eventually want to go and get my master's degree. I did spend a year after college at the Juilliard School, but I didn't go on to get a master's there. And one thing I was really looking at the online program at the University of Edinburgh at one point, because they're the only school in the world that offers an accredited program studying parapsychology, ghosts and stuff. Yeah, but I didn't qualify. It would have been pretty awesome, though. Yeah.
Didn't qualify. Is there a test or something?
You had to have done more study in actual psychology to be able to go into that. Yes, and I didn't have that, and they were very nice about it.
I studied a year of psychology.
Did you?
Yes. I actually bounced around my degree. I went from creative writing, and then I went to law enforcement, then I went to psychology, then I went back to law enforcement, and now I'm in animation.
That's a big switch.
Yes, but like law enforcement I wanted to do because I wanted to be in the FBI or the CIA or something, because and then I was like, I don't like all these rules. And I studied it for a long time, but I enjoyed psychology more, but I didn't enjoy studying myself. So I was like, if I have to study myself one more time, I'm gonna explode. So I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Bye. And then I was like, okay, so I sat in a physical class, and I went to law school, and I was like, okay, I can't take this anymore. The only part of the law classes I liked were the international laws and stuff.
Yes.
So, I really enjoyed learning laws about other countries and stuff, but once it went into, corrections and federal law, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot of stuff.
Federal law is the worst thing ever. And then if I want to be certified in the state, you have to do state specific classes, and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then some states are different than other states,
very
really
different from others.
And there's some obscure laws and things, so you're like, okay, I'm done. So I was like, okay, I'm going. And then I was like, when I was 15, I wanted to do animation. Let's just go back to that. And I was like, and then I was like, why didn't I start with this? Because everybody was like, you can't do that, you'll never make it, blah, blah, blah. And I listened, and I was like, I'm not listening anymore, I'm doing what I want.
Good for you. And I think that's the way to do it. I mean, I was kind of like you. I started when I was in school. I started out as a math major, and that was when I was in the Air Force. And I'm like, you know what? No, this isn't me. So that's when I went and changed from useful math to drama and radio, TV, motion pictures.
That's awesome. So, like, we want to know what's weird. When you speak about math, when I was younger, I was really good at math to the point where I could do calculus in my head without thinking.
Oh, see, I never could do that.
So, like, I would, I was in high school when I took calculus, and when I was in Algebra 2, they made me use a calculator. They forced me, and it was half the grade. So when I got to calculus, and they they boosted me to the AP class, because they're like, you don't belong here. In this pre-class, you're going to AP calculus. I was like, okay. And so he put the 7th level of hell equation on the board, right?
Oh.
So he's like, you will never see this, because, we're just doing basic calculus. This is what 7 years of calculus will get you. He put it on the board, so he started writing it out. And once he finished, I had my hand in there. He's like, yes, Jessica. And I was like, do I have to use the calculator? He's like, no. And I was like, okay. And then I put my hand back up in the air. He's like, yes, Jessica, I have the answer. He's like, what? I was like, I have the answer. He's like, okay, go ahead. And I gave it to him. He looked at this paper, looked at me, looked at his paper again, looked at me again. How did you get that answer? And I walked him from the answer back to the equation, because I couldn't figure out how to do it the other way. So I was like, well, this is how it goes. And he's like, if you sit in my class, you get an A.
Wow.
I just had to sit in his class to get an A, and eventually I dropped out, and like a month or so after I dropped out, one of my teachers was stabbed 27 times.
What?
Mm-hmm. I was like, I kept getting migraines and things, and the only class I enjoyed was the calculus class, but it was like boring to me because I already knew how to do it. So like when you talk about math, I was like, yeah, I was good at that. It was like a second language to me. I don't know. It's like, I don't know how I did it.
I wish it was a second language to me. It's always been very, very hard for me to grasp.
I struggle with basic math. And I don't remember calculus anymore. I haven't used it in 15 years. So it's like I haven't used it in so long, you lose it. But exactly. Languages seem to come easy to me. So I'm thinking maybe my brain interprets math like it's a language when it comes to complicated stuff like that.
Now, I think it does work like that, and I couldn't do, algebra was not so simple for me, but geometry, I just picked up automatically, and I think it was because it's a very visual thing. Mm-hmm. You can see the process there, where this algebra just seems very kind of surreal out there.
Well, when I can read computer code language and know what it does. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I do it. Like I can just look at it and I know what it does. I can't do it because I have dyslexia. So it's like if I tried to start programming things, that's why I didn't go into programming or anything like that, because I knew that I would have one thing off and I would never see what it is. And it would be this one itty-bitty key that I clicked that I didn't know I clicked, and it ended up in my code and I wouldn't see it because I put it there. Because like when I copied equations down onto paper, I changed the equation, and that's why I couldn't figure out how I was getting everything wrong from the book. And then one of my teachers was like, I made up new equations, but I got the answers right with the new equations I created.
Figured it out anyway. Wow. Yeah, I could never do that.
But yeah, so when you talk about math, I had colleges wanting me to go to school for math, and I was like, no, not doing it. Because my mom was an accountant, and she hated that job, so I was like, why would I study something my mom hates?
Yes. Yeah, I thought exactly. I realized, it didn't take me long to realize math was not for me.
It's like, I know I'm good at it, but when you're good at something, it's like, why do it?
Doesn't necessarily mean that you like it. Yes.
It's like, I might be good at it. I might have enjoyed it as a younger kid because I learned algebra at the age of 4 because my grandpa was doing algebra equations on napkins and stuff. And nobody believes the story when I tell them that my grandpa taught me algebra. But my grandpa died when I was 5, so I had to have been 4 when he taught me.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, that's not possible. We don't believe you. I was like, he told me, learn this placemat, and he'll teach me algebra. That's what he said. And I was like, okay. And he's like, and they didn't understand that Grandpa knew algebra because he dropped out in grammar school.
Well, they say Albert Einstein dropped out in, the 8th grade or something like that? So, yep.
I was like, Bill Gates didn't go to college. So.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, what does that have to do with anything?
That tells you about formal education right there.
Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm going to school just because I want to learn new things, So it's like, I'm going to school to learn new trades. I don't care about, it's like, I want the degree because, you get paid more money to have the degree.
Piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm the same way. I love learning new things, no matter what it is. If I have an opportunity to learn something new, I will take it.
Yeah, that's how I am. So the show is 2 hours in, so we can talk a little bit about what you do besides what we talked about. We nerded out today, didn't we?
We did nerd out. It was awesome, though. I don't get a chance to nerd out with people often, so... You
got to nerd out on the radio. Yeah, that's so awesome, right? Nerding out on the radio. So, you could talk... do you have anything else you want to talk about besides the 2 books you were working on?
Those are the big things. They'll be out. The zombie book will be out in September. The puppet book will be out in December. My YouTube show, Cospotted, should be coming out later in September. So those are my big projects right now. Mm-hmm. And I have a smaller note, I worked on a Hallmark movie earlier this year that will also be out in November.
Ooh, so, Hallmark Channel.
Yes, that was on the Hallmark Channel. It's called When Angels Land, or at least that was the working title, starring Kristen Chenoweth, who was amazing, and that should be out in November. So yeah, those are my big things going on right now.
That must have been exciting.
That was a lot of fun. She was great. Kristen Chenoweth, of course, was the role I remember her best in was Glinda in Wicked on
Wicked.
Broadway.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. I've never been to Broadway. I would like to go to Broadway, but, it's in New York, and I'm in Illinois right now. That's a goal of mine, eventually.
I miss New York, having been to school there and working there for a while, and I miss it every so often, but maybe I'm like you. One of these days, maybe I'll get back.
It's like, one of these days I will do this thing. Maybe it'll just remain a dream, but maybe it might just come true.
Yes, and that's I hold on to that thought as well. You're talking about writing earlier, and I keep a little note with me that shows how many times famous authors were turned down before their books were finally accepted. And J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter was apparently turned down 12 times.
12 times, I believe it. And then Frank L. Baum didn't have success until he was in his 40s. So, and he wrote The Wizard of Oz.
He did. That's correct.
All of them. The Wizards of Oz. It's not just one book. It's like a series. But yeah, I was like, he was 45. So if he was 45 in a time where that is like pretty much old age,
Yes.
So it's
I keep that with me as well. Because I feel like I'm getting so old, but still a lot of things I want to do. I'm not done doing cool things yet.
I was like, I'm gonna live till I'm 100 because that is how long it's gonna take me to finish my chronicles.
I feel about the same way myself.
And it's like, I bet I'll have a bunch of other books spit out of me before I finish this whole this whole thing. I was like, how long that's what I need to research. How long did it take for George Lucas to write Star Wars?
Oh, he'd started out, worked as part of his college project, I believe. Mm-hmm. I do know that he proposed it to Universal Studios first, and they turned it down. Yes, exactly. So then 20th Century Fox picked it up, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Mm-hmm. History. And when I was in middle school, my history teacher named me the next George Lucas.
Really? So, see, you've got a big legacy to live up to.
I do, and I feel like I might end up being the next George Lucas, Walt Disney hybrid.
I've always admired George Lucas. I'd had the opportunity to meet him with some of the Star Wars stuff that we've done, which was a great experience. Jim Henson was also always a hero of mine, and sadly he passed away before I worked with the Henson Studio, so I never got a chance to meet him. But I met the other members of the Henson family, and that was also a great experience.
That had to have been fun.
Yes.
I'm a little jealous, but I'm not there yet.
That's right. You still have plenty of things to do and plenty of time.
It's like, I'm not there yet, but it will happen. But my one of my aunts is a TV producer. She's been a producer for a long time, and she works in Chicago, Marianne.tv. That is her. So you want to see her resume? She worked with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, other people famous people you may or not know. But it's like, I'm like looking at her resume. I was like, I want my resume to look like that eventually.
Well, I mean, it sounds to me like you've got a lot of really cool stuff going on.
Yeah, it's good. I got all these things on the back burner, and then I got like my show on the front. I'm like, this is my baby that I'm like cultivating. I'm like, this baby's gonna stay. Yes. So Aimless Banter, I started a few months ago actually, and it just started making the radio even more popular. Even more popular than it was. I was like, yes, I found my goal. I was like, I finally get people to hear me talking to other people, and these other people are actually interested in being on here. I was like, yes, that is the goal. And it's like, because it's like I always wanted my own talk show, but I never knew what to talk about. But when I was like invite a guest, I'm like, hey, you could talk about whatever you want, and we can nerd out on the radio. And they're like, okay.
And it's great. I know when Ron Rossman was the one who told us about you, I'm like, oh yeah, I got to get on this show. So I really appreciate you having me on the show. So yeah, that was my main goal for the show, is to have no goal in mind. So it's like Seinfeld, but it's a talk show, but we're talking about whatever we want. So, and you can also like shamelessly plug whatever content you want to plug, even if it's not your own. You can you'd be like, I'm a superstar fan of this YouTube person or this game person or whatever. You talk about whatever you want. It's really up to you, and maybe I might, inquire about some things, because I was a fully trained interrogator. So if something happens I want to know about, I was like, I got a question in the back of my mind. I want to ask this question, so I'll just slip it in there, and you'll be like, I didn't realize she did that. Think about that. Yeah, so sometimes it happens that way. It's like if I know what I want to talk about, but I generally don't have a goal in mind with this show, because if I did, I would be too nervous. No, and like I don't get a chance to. I've never gotten a chance to really nerd out on the radio, so this has been awesome. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. So we probably should end the show, guys. You can plug your page or however you buy your books. Yes, well, all of my books are available on Amazon. I have Haunted Theaters of the Carolinas, The Well-Dressed Puppet, and then I will have Twas Halloween Evening coming out this month, the Introduction to Puppetry Arts in December, and then my YouTube show Cos Spotted will be out the end of September. And how do you spell Cos Spotted? It's COS and then capital SPOTTED. I was like, wonder how you spell. So is it like is it a play on cosplay? Exactly. Okay. Yes. Cosspotted right from your closet. Exactly. I was like, she's doing a show about what I used to do in high school. Well, and we'll be doing closet cosplay. I've got I have a Ghostbusters episode. We will have the Ecto 1 in there. I'll have a Doctor Who episode. I have a pirate episode. Just all sorts of general finding cool stuff at thrift stores. That is like awesome. I'm so excited about a show that isn't out yet, and I'm so excited about a book she's writing, and I'm so excited about meeting you. So I appreciate you for joining me on Aimless Banter. If you want to be a guest on the show, you can always email me at Jessica Darkstar, JESSIKADARKSTAR @gmail.com. You can actually book your own show on the Aimless Banter Facebook page or the Instagram. At Aimless Banter is the Instagram,
and Jessica Aimless Jessica Darkstar Aimless Banter is the Facebook page. Yes, I know it's a long name, but it's my name, it's my show. Deal with it. So we'll see you next week. I'm not sure who's going to be a guest next week. Hopefully Blondie and Gregbo, because they were supposed to be here on Tuesday, but they had a family emergency, so maybe they might come next week. We'll see how that goes. If you want to be a guest on the show, feel free to email me or use the Facebook or the Instagram and say, hey, I'm going to book my show. Yes, do it. Don't be afraid. You don't have to be a famous person. You can actually be a normal person who just wants to talk. You don't have to be a famous person. I'm not a famous person. Not yet.
Neither am I.
Not yet. But you've worked with famous people, so that's impressive. Anyways.
Some famous people, yes.
And I've met some famous people. It's just I don't realize I've met some famous people. It's like they're just normal people, really. It feels like it anyway. So yes, come to the show. Go listen to us on darkstarradio.com Tuesdays, Thursdays, 4 to 6 p.m. PST, which is California time, for those of you who don't realize what that means. And then, Chicago time at 6 to 8 p.m., which is where I live. And then where you live in North Carolina, right?
North Carolina, yes. Charlotte, North Carolina.
So it would be 7 p.m.
to 9.
7 to 9. And of course, since Muggsy came on the show last week, we realized that my show starts at 9 a.m. in Australia and Sydney. So that tells you that. I don't know anywhere else on the globe. I'm sorry. I don't have a time machine that says, hey, this is all the clocks in the whole universe. And wouldn't it be weird? Wonder what time it would be on Pluto.
There you go. When you'll have to build a studio and put all the clocks up from everywhere, kind of like the MIB headquarters.
That would be awesome, yeah. So if you want to be on the show, you don't have to, be in where I am, as long as you can make it to the show at the time. As I said, if you don't know what it is, there is such thing as a time converter. You can look it up. So I hope to see you guys next week. I am signing off now. There we go. Bye-bye for now. Say bye, Cher.
Goodbye, everyone.